There's a moment every profession eventually reaches where competence is no longer impressive. You expect your pilot to know how to fly the plane. You expect your surgeon to know where to cut. You expect your financial advisor to understand markets, taxes, and numbers. That's not exceptional. That's the baseline. In finance especially, technical knowledge is everywhere. Credentials hang on walls, charts look sharp, software runs projections in seconds. Most advisors can build a portfolio or explain a strategy. And for a while, that's enough. It earns you a seat at the table. But here's the problem. Competence alone doesn't build trust. Trust is built in the moments where spreadsheets stop working, where markets fail and fear takes over, when the plan says one thing, but emotions say another, when the right answer is uncomfortable, costly, or unpopular. In those moments, the real question isn't, is this person smart? It's, can I trust this person to tell me the truth? Will they stay calm when I'm not? Will they act in my best interest when it would be easier not to? That's where virtue enters the picture. Virtue determines how competence is used. Two people can have the same knowledge, the same tools, the same training, and produce vastly different outcomes based on their character. One uses skill to serve, the other uses it to sell. One brings clarity, the other brings confusion. And when life gets hard, because it always does, people don't cling to expertise, they cling to trust. Today we want to talk about why technical competence is table stakes, but virtue is what builds trust. Why character, not credentials, sustains relationships. And why the kind of advisor or person you are matters far more than how much you know. Welcome to Plan to Prosper, where we exist to honor God by helping faithful servants steward their finances wisely and build wealth that endures for generations. Happy New Year, Logan. Welcome to another episode.
Happy New Year, 1st of 2026.
That's right. Did you have a good holidays?
Yes, I stayed up late, unlike you.
Correct.
Just had a good time with family.
You were in Boston?
Yeah.
Nice. Very good.
You were around here?
Yeah, I stayed here. And you even let your kids stay up till midnight?
Yeah, I tried to let all of them stay up. My 4-year-old was the only one that fell asleep.
That's nuts, dude.
I kind of paid for it the next day, but...
Yeah, I'm sure you did. And still, that's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, we want to dive into 2026 with sort of a foundational episode. We probably should have done this one early on. But we have at our firm 5 corporate virtues that are the underlying foundation for everything that we do as financial advisors. And so today's episode, we just want to walk through what those are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As financial advisors, as we interact with each other, as we interact with even people that we do business with, but not necessarily financial advising, different vendors, things like that. So, yeah. Yeah.
So there's kind of the two sets of skills that you want from your financial advisor. There's the hard skills that we were talking about in the cold opening, that the technical competence and earning the right to sit at the table, so to speak. But then there's the soft skills that kind of underlie all of this that are just as important. And with those comes a degree of trust and, emotional intelligence or whatever you want to call it, that allow you to really be able to understand your clients well and serve them in their best interest.
Yeah, soft skills, and also just kind of this might be the same as soft skills, but just the character that we think is important.
Yeah, for sure. We once heard a financial advisor say that the best way to judge a financial advisor is based on their alpha and how much they're beating the expected returns. And he proceeded to talk about how he doubled the market every single year and kind of bragged about that for a while. And we don't necessarily think that that's the best way to judge a financial advisor. I don't think it's, it's something, but I don't think it's the best way.
I think it's a good way to judge somebody who's trying to manage to the S&P 500. Mm-hmm. But you want more out of your financial advisor if you want more, even not even counting the virtues, you want more than just alpha. If I've got a positive alpha in 2008, but 80-year-old Granny Smith's down 35%, I still have positive alpha compared to the S&P 500, but Granny Smith can't live anymore.
Right. Yeah. Good point. We think the best way to judge a financial advisor is not solely on their investment acumen, but by their character.
Yeah, character. Yeah, I think there's investment acumen, and then there's kind of the rest of the financial acumen.
Sure.
And then there's higher than all of that, character.
Exactly, and all of them kind of form this synthesis of a what makes a good financial advisor. You can't just have character and no expertise, because
Right.
Your pastor probably has really good character, but maybe isn't skilled in the financial. So you don't want your pastor to be your financial advisor either necessarily. Maybe your pastor's good at that, but he's got the character, but maybe not the expertise. So you want to have this good conjoining of these two things amongst a bunch of other things that make up a financial advisor. And so at our firm, we have these 5 corporate virtues that shape everything that we do as a staff, both, as you said, in our interactions with clients, but also in our interactions with each other, that help us unify, help us stay grounded, help us to really continue to move the ball forward in our firm.
Yeah. Just real quick side note. You had mentioned clients and each other. I talked to somebody who was talking about another firm that will remain nameless, who said he's a wholesaler. For those who don't know, wholesalers try to sell mutual fund ETF products to financial advisors. And he was talking about another firm, and he's like, "Oh, they don't give the time of day, and they're actually kind of mean when people show up and things like that." So yeah, we want to do it with we want to show these virtues to everybody.
Yeah, I'm curious. These virtues kind of or maybe they were formed around the time I started, but I think they predate my time at the firm. When did you guys come up with these? Do you remember?
I think we had I know we had discussed them for a long time. I don't think we finalized until you were with the firm.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, because I think the humility thing was still on the table, and we can get to that later.
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
There were some you've got my least favorite in here. I mean, you've got all of them in here, but my least favorite was debated for a little while.
Okay.
So yeah. It was a process, I think, as it should be, coming up with corporate. Most of the corporate world uses values, but we intentionally use virtues.
Yeah, explain that a little bit. Why did we choose that?
We think that the virtues is just provides kind of. It provides more than virtues is kind of more about who you are than just what you value. Mm-hmm. It's more about your character and the kind of fiber of your being than just because your values can potentially change. We think your virtues need to kind of be instilled in you.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so the virtues shape how we make decisions under pressure, how we treat clients in difficult seasons, and then how we interact with each other internally. And they really are more than they're not just marketing slogans, though, our marketing team does use them to demonstrate who we are as a firm, but they are genuinely the standards that we're trying to shoot for in the firm. So we want to start 2026 by defining and clarifying what they are. And if you already are a client, maybe you didn't know this, but if you're not a client of ours and you're interested, like this is something that you can challenge us on. If you were to ever work with us, are we living up to what we say we're trying to?
Yeah, hold us accountable.
Yeah. All right. What's the first virtue?
Number 1, servanthood.
What's the definition of that?
It's taking action to use your knowledge to use the various abilities you have and resources that you've been given to help care for others. Essentially, kind of putting others' interests ahead of your own.
Yeah. So it speaks to the fiduciary duty as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's even more than kind of. I mean, I think it's similar, but I think servanthood can even be almost an additional step.
Yeah. Okay. Elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
I mean, you can do something. You can provide advice that's in the client's best interest, but I think there's with servanthood, there's more of a giving up of yourself,
going out of your way to go above and beyond.
Yeah, to serve somebody. I mean, I'm using the word, but I don't think the serve somebody is necessarily to serve your client is necessarily in the fiduciary definition.
Okay, all right, I could see that. Yeah, it's serving clients and not selling to them. I mean, that I think you can quote unquote sell and still be serving somebody, but in our case, we don't really sell anything other than our services as financial advisors and investment managers. But yeah, our goal is to always be in service of our clients. When they call, when they email, we're quick to respond as best in our ability as a smaller firm to serve them the best that we possibly can, and make sure we're taking care of them with whatever they need.
Ironically, I think being a smaller firm helps you respond quicker.
Yeah.
Whenever I was doing it yesterday, I was getting ready to call somebody, and I saw that the only number online was an 866 number. I was like, oh, I'm going to call an 800. Like, how long is it going to take me to get somebody? Yeah. I think that is a benefit of a smaller firm. If you call, somebody's going to answer.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or you're going to leave a voicemail and somebody will get back to you very shortly.
Yeah. This also applies to our interrelational dynamic at the firm. So serving each other as a team, where we can help each other in different areas, and serving each other, where one member of the team might be able to more quickly solve a problem than we could if we tried to do it on our own, and just being willing to reach out and ask for the help, and they're willing to step in and do it. But then also not overusing that and serving the other way around, where you go, they're really busy with work. I don't want to burden them with something that I can absolutely do on my own. I will serve them by not putting this extra request on their plate. So it goes both ways.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There was, but not competing with them. It is interesting. Sometimes I think there can be some healthy competition, though.
Sure.
I remember I had a friend who I think it was he was working on like underwriting mergers and acquisition deals, and he said right in their office, I think there were like 10 of them, they had I think it was a whiteboard, some kind of board that showed how many deals everybody had done like for the quarter.
Yeah.
And it gave them motivation to like, ooh, like how do I get...
Sure.
He said it wasn't unhealthy. It was a fun way.
Good.
So I think you can serve, but also I think there can occasionally be some healthy competition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more what the heart of saying not competing with them is more of we're all on the same team here. So when one person wins, we all win. We're not going against each other here.
Right.
So the internal competition that you're describing seems more like you're almost competing with yourself to get better. By also
true.
kind of comparing with each other. But because we're all part of one entity, we're all competing with ourselves in that sense, I think.
Yeah. To
get better. What else? Giving honest advice even when it means less revenue.
Yeah, I mean there are times where somebody can absolutely afford something. Like if somebody wants to buy, we have clients that buy or build $1 million homes. They can afford it. They're pulling it from their portfolio, and $1 million from their portfolio is less revenue for us. But if it's something that they want and they think will make a better life for themselves, and will better connect them to what they feel their purpose and values and all of that are, then we're 100% going to support it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We try to help clients make wise decisions and not emotionally satisfying ones. So sometimes there's going to be the hard conversation when somebody wants to do that same thing, but it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, we'll just derail them.
And you have to have that conversation. And that is serving them to be honest with them, to say this is not going to work well for you.
Yeah, because the easier thing would just be, oh yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
And in your mind thinking you're going to pay for the consequences eventually.
Right.
But it's the more comfortable, less awkward thing to do.
Right. And then there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that no one ever sees. The prepping for meetings, and even preparing plans, preparing investment reports, and all these things that go into serving a client that they don't see all the work ahead of time. They just meet with you in the moment and, oh, thank you for this. But I think there's a lot more to it that goes on behind the scenes that is often thankless, but just do it because it's the right thing to do.
You challenging me to thank you more?
No, not at all.
I'm just kidding. You absolutely don't need. It's that attitude of not doing it because you need credit. All I can think is there are times when I do the dishes and my wife doesn't say anything. I'm like, I did the dishes.
Yeah.
That's most nights she's like, oh wow, thanks for doing the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kitchen looks great after she's put the kids to bed. So usually she's great at that, but having an attitude of I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do, not because I want to be patted on the back.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's human nature to want recognition for when you do something, but the reality is your day is full of things that you do that are not going to be recognized, and just got to do them because it's the right thing to do anyways.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on servanthood?
I mean, I think it's just I like the fact that there's ultimately, I think it's kind of a your good is my goal. I think that's what kind of creates the trust. And I think that we're overall just called to do that I think that every financial advisor should want to do that. Not every financial advisor does, but also we should want to do that as Christians.
Yeah. Amen. Virtue number 2, curiosity. Define that.
I think it's just being interested in things, being interested in people, what kind of makes people tick, what even just life circumstances, being interested in just a wide variety of things in the world, things that will make you better as a person or smarter, things that will make you better at your craft. Yeah, just an overall kind of attitude of inquisitiveness.
Yeah. You're constantly learning. You never arrive at this destination of, I have completed my degree in life of every bit of knowledge that I can possibly acquire, but life is a continual journey towards learning more and more. So let's take them kind of one by one. Let's talk about curiosity about people and specifically clients. I think this is a really important thing that we need to get better at, but I think that we've had examples that it's really benefited us too. When we get to know our clients, we're not just trying to give them the best financial advice generically and invest manage their investments for them, and that's it. We do want to get to know them as people and find out, what do they like to do? What are their hobbies? What are their and when we discover these things, it helps us become better financial advisors because we know what they're trying to do in their life. That we know their goals, we know the things that they enjoy doing, and we want to help support all of those things if it requires any amount of capital. And then also, like practically, little things like, we think of a little maybe gift to get a client that like expressed, I love doing X, Y, and Z, and we realize, oh, this would be a nice little thing to bless them with at Christmas time or something like that. Like we strive to make sure we know these clients well, and that starts with a attitude of curiosity about them.
Yeah, and I actually think this is harder to fake than it even sounds like. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty easy when you're talking to somebody to figure out, I don't know if they actually just heard what I said based on their follow-up question. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a good challenge to continually be interested in people. Yeah.
Yeah, and then same thing, we can talk about it kind of at a firm level, like just being interested in each other as a firm, I think is beneficial to the overall process because we build relationships with each other, we're getting to know each other while, building camaraderie and also just continuing to pursue this mission together with what we're trying to do at the firm. I think it's beneficial to how we serve our clients when we're in cohesion with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, like you said, then more broadly, curiosity just about the world, curiosity about, there's always more to learn about financial wisdom, more to learn about investments, more to learn about, I don't know, just economics, how the world works, and just even random things like history or politics or anything else that you want to get into.
Sports.
Yeah. Being infinitely curious makes you a more interesting person in general, and it makes you, I think, more broadly skilled because you are just continuing to broaden your knowledge.
Yeah, I love there's a very succinct quote. I don't know who originally did it, but I'm sure you've heard it. Interesting people are interested. I just think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, and back to being curious about other people, that we've all had that experience where we've met somebody and we come away from the conversation, we're just like, wow, that was the nicest person I've ever been around. And then you think back to why were they nice? They asked me a ton of questions about myself. They were so curious about my life and made me feel like I was a very interesting person. But really, I came away thinking, wow, they were so nice. And I think if we could all learn to be like that, where we're just like, we're so interested in the other person and getting to know who they are, we become likable in that sense because we're so naturally inquisitive.
Yeah, because on the flip side, I think you walk away from conversations with a bad taste in your mouth when it's like, wow, everything I said, they turned into a story about themselves.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I think if both parties are figuring out how to be interested in each other, you almost can't even you're almost competing for who can get the next question and to learn more about the other person. But I think that also protects against arrogance when, if you just are all wrapped up in yourself and what you're doing, like you're saying, we've had those conversations with people that just want to talk about themselves. You can build this underlying arrogance in yourself that we want to avoid. It'll speak to another virtue, but maintain humility in all that we do.
Yeah, definitely.
And curiosity helps with that.
Yeah. It's helpful to lessen the focus on yourself.
And it proves that you don't know everything already. By being curious, you are naturally asking questions, whether you're talking to somebody or you're just researching something yourself, because you don't know all the answers. And being curious demonstrates, I don't know everything and I need to know more. Yeah.
I just realized the other day, I'm thinking actually it's free for me, so I started it, but I'm not making any promises. But so I have the CFA designation.
Yeah.
They just released this advanced private wealth management certificate. And it was like, it takes the typical person 25 to 30 hours or whatever of work. I was like, I thought I already knew everything. I have the CFA. But no, they're releasing more information about things. So yeah, nobody knows everything.
So you're going to do it?
I mean, you sign up for free, so I have all the materials. It's just when I make enough time.
Yeah. 2026 goal. 25 to 30 hours, is that what you said? Is there a test?
That's what it said. There are 5 modules, and I just got all the info for the first module, and it's like 90 pages of small writing.
Ooh, sounds fun.
So we'll see how honest that 20 to 30 hours is.
Do you have to take a test at the end?
I don't think so. It's like peer-to-peer reviews. Like you have to submit things that then 2 of your peers grade.
Interesting.
But then I'll have to do that with other people. So what if we all just stink?
Yeah. None of you know anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on curiosity?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job covering it.
All right. What's virtue number 3?
Calmness.
Calmness.
What is your definition of calmness?
A state of peace and steadiness, especially in moments of uncertainty.
Yeah.
This is your favorite virtue.
Least
favorite virtue. All right, explain that. Why is this your least favorite virtue?
So I think I've figured out why. When I don't remember who brought it up first, but in my head it just wasn't something to strive for, or it just wasn't. I don't know. That's what I always thought. It just doesn't sound like a virtue, like something that somebody should want to. But then I think I've kind of realized this one might just, of all of them, come the most naturally for me, and so that's why it doesn't seem like it's that challenging or anything. Yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. I think where I see it as being a critical virtue for our firm is, I think the easiest analogy that I can think of is getting in an airplane, because you and I are both slightly nervous flyers.
Yes. So that's where I'm not calm.
Exactly. And so if we think about being in an airplane and then the plane starts to get pretty bumpy, which happens pretty much on every single flight.
Yeah.
It's the most normal thing in aviation, I think, is turbulence. But nevertheless, it is the most nerve-wracking thing to experience if you're even a slightly nervous flyer. And so the calmness of the flight attendants that are walking around, still serving drinks while the plane is bumping around. Obviously, we can't see the pilots, but they'll get on the intercom and they'll just be talking, and they sound like they couldn't be less stressed. They're just like, and we got a little bit of bumpy air here, and we're just going to move through it and try to find some smooth air for you guys. And
put your seatbelt on, and we'll be out of this in no time.
Exactly. It's just they're trying to comfort you and go, trust me, we're trying to find smoother air for you guys. Nothing to worry about here, though. My father-in-law is a pilot, and he has his own little plane that I've flown in a few times that, it's smaller, so you feel more of the bumps on the smaller planes, and you're flying at lower altitude, so there's just more of that naturally, more wind and stuff. But you're sitting right next to the pilot that you don't get to experience on a commercial flight. So that was helpful because it's very bumpy, but he's just like there, and I'm on his like headphones with him, and we can talk back and forth the whole time, and he's literally laughing if there's like significant turbulence. He's like, "Ooh, this is a good one," and I'm there gripping my seat arm handles, and I'm just like, couldn't be more stressed. And he's just like, "Whoa, this is fun," and so things like that. So applying it to what we do, the markets are bumpy. And that makes people really nervous when they start to go down. But when they see their advisor and they get on the phone call with them, there's no panic. There's no like, oh, there's nothing to worry about here. This is a normal part of the process.
And I was actually thinking about that analogy and kind of played it out the rest of the way. And I think it works really well, because imagine if at the beginning of the flight they gave you parachutes and they were like, oh, well, if it gets too bumpy for you, feel free to jump out of the plane.
Right.
Most people wouldn't get to their destination or people like you and I wouldn't get to the destination because we're using our parachute.
Or I would never get on that plane. I would just turn around
True.
and leave. Yeah.
But you jump out of the plane, you're not reaching your destination. The same way, in most scenarios, if you jump out of the market, it's likely you're not going to reach your desired destination.
That is good. Yeah. Yeah, I think the analogy really holds strong. And so our goal is to be the pilots. Our goal is to be the flight attendants that are just like, hey, there's nothing to worry about here. Sure, the markets are down and things look tough. Your portfolio is worth less today than it was yesterday. We get that.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. But we recognize that we're not living for right here and right now. These investments are not for today. They're for 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Even in retirement, even when you're in retirement and you technically are drawing from your portfolio, you still have long time horizons because you still have plenty of years ahead of you. And so we always have that in view, that this is a normal part of the investment market cycles.
Yeah, so, and just to put our clients' minds at ease, don't worry. We're not like your father-in-law. When the markets get bumpy, we're not laughing, but we're calm.
True. Yeah. It is a little rude to laugh while I'm panicked in the seat next to him.
I'd love to see blood pressure readings from both of you in those moments.
I know. Yeah, he couldn't be. Yeah, he was cool as a cucumber, and I was not. But we made it. I lived.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
You're here today.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on calmness?
I mean, I think when people are calm, it also helps people who might not be calm learn from you.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people get nervous in markets and they see somebody that's able to ride it pretty well, I think it's also a good learning experience for that person.
Yeah.
I mean, in planes, I look around, I'm like, oh, nobody else seems to be looking around nervous, so it kind of puts me more at ease.
That's what I can't understand is I don't understand how it's not flipped. Like it seems like when I get on a plane, nobody has a fear of flying. Everybody's just like laughing and they're like doing their own thing, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, does nobody else feel what I'm feeling right now? And I'm so shocked that it's not the opposite, because flying is a very unnatural thing.
I think it's at least 50% though of people say that they're somewhat nervous flyers.
Yeah. But yeah, like when you start feeling these bumps, I'm like, we all realize that we're 30,000 feet in the air right now. And if this thing goes down, we're done for. But yeah, I'm trying to get over it. It's tough, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. That's calmness. Courage is virtue number 4. What is courage?
Yeah, it's a strength, determination, steadfastness that is ultimately rooted in a trust for God.
Okay. It's goes beyond just being brave. It's actually putting faith into action. It's making hard decisions, even when they're going to be met with it's not a popular thing, or it's going to be met with, maybe emotion or
some kind of pushback.
Not going to be received well. It's the courage to actually do it.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it a little bit before, but knowing something's going to be awkward or weird, or even not necessarily with financial stuff, but even knowing, like with my kids, when my son has to get blood tests every once in a while. Yeah. And knowing that the pain's going to come, you got to just teach him to like, all right, be brave.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw this great video the other day. I'm like not good at saying those types of things to my kids. Like my default is just like, oh, be careful. And I saw this dad, and his son was standing on this like it was at a playground. It was just it almost looked like a seesaw, but instead of it going back and forth, it had two giant springs, or maybe it was just one giant spring underneath it. And so the thing was just very unstable, and you could make it even more unstable with the way that you stood on it. And the kid was 3 years old or 2 years old, and he was very, very nervous. And he refused to stand up on it. He was just kind of crouching down on it, and he was asking his dad to help him, and his dad just kept saying, "You can do this. Be brave. You can do this. Be brave. It's going to be fine. Be brave." And he kept repeating that line, "Be brave." And the kid finally stood up and gained all this confidence because he was able to stand there and still manage the wiggliness of the board, and all because his dad kept saying, "Be brave, son. You can do it." And so that was a good lesson for me when I'm talking to my kids. Don't just be like, "Oh, be careful. Don't do that." Be like, no. Be brave. You can do this.
Yeah. I think sometimes the challenge is when you say be brave versus don't be stupid.
Yeah.
with kids.
Dude, for sure. Yeah. And I do feel like most of the time I'm like, you really should not be doing that. Let's not do that. But
yeah,
I got to find ways to also encourage bravery.
Yeah.
So we talked about, telling clients hard truths when they're wanting to do something that they really shouldn't be doing. It's uncomfortable, but you have to be like, as your financial advisor, I can't not say this. This is a foolish decision. This is going to hurt your financial plan. It's not going to help it. And being willing to say it.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely still requires the courage. But I think you would want that person to say the same thing to you if roles were flipped.
And that's this is why you hired a financial advisor.
Yeah.
They're not your yes man. They're there to actually advise you on your finances. And if you're about to make a decision that is going to tank your financial plan, you should want somebody to tell you that.
Yeah. Tank your plan, tank how much you can provide for family or just where you want to go in life. Yeah, all that.
Yeah. It's like,
I guess it's all part of the plan, but yeah.
Yeah. I think, again, we can also apply it to internally at our firm. Like, it's being willing to have harder conversations with each other when the time comes or when it's necessary, and to make our firm better and to make each other better.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on courage? I think it's fairly straightforward, but
yeah, fairly straightforward. I think kind of just realizing that because we had originally mentioned it's kind of rooted in a trust of God, for God, trust of God. God wants to bless us, and but also it seems kind of like you were saying with the dad and the son. There are things that are going to feel uncomfortable that God may be putting in our life to challenge us, to make us better if we exercise that courage.
Yeah. And there's obviously plenty of examples in the Bible of people demonstrating courage that's rooted in faith. I think like Joshua, David, Esther, there's examples of faithful Christians who were using their God-given courage, but rooted in their trust in God. And I think like David's a good example of, I think oftentimes we tell the story of David and Goliath in like a really kid-friendly version where it's just like this poor little tiny shepherd boy like used his child's toy to beat the giant. But that's not really what happened. Like David was an excellent shepherd, and he was extremely efficient with that sling, which if you look at slings from biblical times, they were basically like guns today. Like that would easily kill somebody. And he was really good at it because he practiced it all the time. He was tending his sheep, and lions and bears would come up against him. So he had to get really good with that sling. And God gave him the opportunity, both in preparation. God was the one that gave him this goal, this task of protecting these sheep for all these years. And he gave him all this time to get really, really good with his sling, so that by the time he faced Goliath, it wasn't just God supernaturally being like, I'm just going to miraculously make you kill this giant. Though it was a miracle, it was rooted in God had been prepping him for this whole time through what he was doing with the sheep and protecting them and getting really good with this sling. And I think for us as financial advisors, it speaks back to like our skills. Like we're not just supernaturally like giving advice off the cuff. It's rooted in experience and rooted in what God's been preparing us for this whole time. And I think having the courage to actually step up and do it, and relying on God, but also relying on the fact that He's been preparing us for these conversations this whole time, because we've been gaining experience through these years of doing what we do and living our lives. And So it's kind of a both and thing. Like it's rooted in trust in God, but it's also rooted in that God has been preparing us for this very moment. In the other things He's given us.
Yeah, 100% agree. Agree with all of that. But now all I have in my head is Matt Chandler. So thanks for that.
You're not David.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to get into that. All right, that's courage.
Yeah.
The fifth and final virtue.
Humor.
What was we teased this earlier. It was originally not humor. It was a made-up word.
Not by either of us.
Your dad was the one that came up with it?
Yeah.
What was it?
Humorlity.
As you can tell, it's humor mixed with humility.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, like the technical virtue for a while. Like when I started at the firm, I feel like I remember seeing a document that had that, like these are our virtues, and humility was one of them. I don't know if they were ever published anywhere, but
never published, internally. Never voted on. Yeah.
So it was changed to humor, a real word, but both rooted in it hits on both things.
I mean, humor is the root of humility.
Yeah. And so it's not just that we think we're funny or anything like that.
Obviously we are.
Super funny. We're nothing but laughs all day long in the office. It's that we are of the earth and we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah. When I think kind of the ultimate I don't take myself too seriously is when you can make a joke about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, financial planning is a serious thing, but it doesn't have to be insufferable. We don't have to be insufferable people. It's
robots.
It's more fun when we're interesting and we can have fun and enjoy the process and enjoy times with our clients and joke around with them. And again, it's not just about being funny. That's not a requirement to work at Stonecrop, though maybe it should be. It is about just being humble, having humility, and not taking yourself too seriously, because it's easy to do that.
Yeah, and for any CPA that listens to this, I'm sorry that I'm using this example, but I feel like people all the time are like, when they meet people like financial advisors versus CPAs, it's like, oh, you're not like a CPA type that just kind of stands there and talks numbers and things like that. There's even a CPA in the office building that we use, who the first time I met him, he was like, people tell me a lot of times I'm not like the typical CPA, and he's not. He's a funny guy. He's very personable. Yeah. We're striving to not be that. Just numbers people who can't get out of our profession and aren't relatable and think we're the best that ever was on this earth, and just all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it helps build trust with our clients, with each other, when we can just relax and be normal people. Then we're willing to laugh at ourselves first and foremost. I think that helps in a lot of ways. Yeah,
I agree, and I think that you can also kind of mix humor, humility with courage. In one example of like, we're not all going to know. None of us are going to know everything, and so in situations where you're asked a question that you don't know the answer to, it's going to take both courage and humility to say, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And it might feel a little weird, but it's going to be much better to say, you know what, I'm not sure about that right now. Let me get back to you, than providing the wrong answer.
For sure. And that speaks to curiosity too. Like a lot of these have overlapping principles where they all kind of play with each other. But yeah, I think the humor one it's fun. It makes it like joy as a part of what we do, that we're not just like miserable as financial advisors, but we can figure out how to have fun with it and have fun with each other, and maintain a posture of humility throughout it all.
Yeah. Yep.
Good. Why does this matter for a listener today, or if you were to become a client of ours, if you are a client of ours, why does any of this matter?
Well, I think bring it back to that original alpha example.
Yeah.
Where the advisor said, oh, the best way to measure is based on the advisor's alpha. I think that.
What is alpha, by the way, for those who don't know?
Outperformance.
Yeah.
In the simplest terms, if you look at all of these virtues, I think you could argue that exercising all of these virtues could provide you with alpha.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also going to provide you with a lot more in terms of the advice you give and the way that you care for a client, just the way that you live as a person. So, yeah, I think that's just kind of a good overall. That's part of why we wanted to go over these and how it shapes us and all that.
Exactly. Yeah, it shapes the way that we give advice, how we handle mistakes, and how we really strive to build trust over a long period of time with our clients. We are not looking for short-term relationships with our clients. We want this to be decades long of serving clients year in and year out faithfully. And these corporate virtues help us do that the best way that we see fit.
And yeah, we're talking about all of this. We realize nobody's perfect at anything. So we're not always going to be perfect at any of these virtues. And so that's where accountability comes in too.
That's right. So yeah, if you are a client of ours and you happen to be listening to this, hold us accountable to these. Yeah. Think about them and think about how our calls are going with any of our advisors or any of us at the firm. Do you see this in action, or do you see us lacking in any of them? Let us know.
Yeah.
We have to demonstrate the humility to accept it.
Exactly.
And then for listeners, if you're not a client, consider what virtues are shaping your own financial decisions. Think about maybe you already have a financial advisor and you're just listening to us for whatever reason. Think about your financial advisor. What do you see in him or her? Or if you're just doing it all yourself, what kind of decisions are you making, and what are the virtues underlying those decisions? Are they fear-based? Are they whatever? Like think about that a little bit, and how maybe these virtues can help your own decision making.
They're listening to us because we're incredibly funny.
That's exactly right. I agree. And they found the right podcast.
Yeah.
It's the best there is on financial advice, and if you're looking for entertainment.
Yeah.
Because we're hilarious.
Hilarious.
All right. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I think we did a pretty good job on those virtues.
I do too. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do another episode next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Send us an email, plantoprosper@stonecropadvisors.com. And let us know if you want to talk about financial planning. We'd love to work on a plan for you.
Do you think there's a longer email address out there?
It's terrible, but I didn't know what else to make it. Maybe it could just be prosper@stonecropadvisors.com. Yeah. It's not that, so don't email
Don't email that one.
Plan to Prosper. That's the name of the podcast. Tried to keep it simple, memorable. Anyway.
I'm not just making fun of that part. I'm also making fun of the stonecropadvisors.com.
Good point. All right. Well, we can figure that out. But for now, that's what the email address is.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
Use that one.
And God bless.
God bless.
Investment advisory services offered through Stonecrop Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This material is intended for informational purposes only.